Hey guys, welcome to not my plus size grandma, but Lovely J podcast. This is Coco, August 23rd, 9:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, excuse me. I just finished eating a baked potato and it was fully loaded with bacon, cheese, extra chives, sour cream, black pepper, and it was so good, y'all. I feel good now. My energy is restored. But let me tell y'all what I've been doing all day. I've been asleep all day. And I mean all day. I was tired. And last night I had a time sleeping. But you know what? I've been having these little chest pains that have really been bothering me. Now, I don't think it's my heart or anything. I think it's maybe coming from the Invisibles. Because they knew this weekend was my birthday. And they start messing around doing things when they know it's, days to celebrate. But my birthday is tomorrow. I will be 49 years old in a couple of hours. And I want everyone to know that I love you all, but you will not have opportunity to ruin what God has allowed, okay? I know that sounds kind of hard, being I just came on. But yeah, I'm so thankful right now. That's all I need to be. I don't look. Now, would I have liked for somebody to, sit around and help celebrate me? Yeah, I would have, because who don't want to be celebrated? But is it necessary? Do I need it? I can live. If I got to celebrate by myself, I'll live through it. I've celebrated by myself these last few years. I think like the last 6 or 7 years, something like that. Except for 1 or 2 times I might have did a little something with somebody else. But other than that, I've had a wonderful birthday, and I can truly say that Rollo is not here this year to spoil my birthday. Now, I know listen, every year it's the same thing. I say the same thing. This is a birthday that I get to enjoy because he wasn't here to spoil it. And that was the truth of the fact that whenever he was living and he was living with me, all my holidays, he messed up. He left me sad. He left me angry. And I would try to play it off the best of my knowledge because of how he treated me in front of people and humiliated me. And when my birthday would come, it was an insult how he would do. He would act like he's planning this nice big birthday thing for me. Like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then when my birthday actually get here, he snatched all that from underneath me. But I could tell every time when he was getting ready to snatch back what he said, because a couple of days beforehand, he started acting different. And, that's a part of the trauma that I lived. And that's things that I may never forget. And it may come up a lot, but I hope not. But I may not never forget what he did to me on those holidays, birthdays. It wasn't just my birthday. This was anybody's birthday. Anybody that he was around. It could be his own family birthdays. And he found a way to start fussing with me to turn it out. So that I would have to leave early, or it was just always something. And this is a year that I get to celebrate. I will miss his call, though, because that's about as far as it, because he pretty much learned that I'll go, tick for tat with him. So he got where he called and wished me happy birthday, and that was it. Just say happy birthday, you good, and that's it. And that's how we got along with limited contact. Now, concerning the grief thing and all that, given what I know now, I've got to loose this grief thing. I mean, it's gonna do what it want to do, but I've got to take control over it. And I'm at the point now, I need to wrap this thing up. I need to wrap it up. The final curtain call was when they closed that casket. That was it. So I need to wrap this grief thing up, chill with the pictures and things, because I'm an emotional being. So when I look at pictures and things like that, it bring back the best of memories for me, and it gives me a good cry, yeah, but it also gives me the good and the bad memories. But right now I'm trying to move forward. I don't want to deal with no more memories or anything, because now the bad memories are starting to pop up, and it's just not cool. That's not cool at all right now. because I don't want to be in that position of grief and at the same time anger like that. Because I started having some bad memories today, and I don't want to take myself back there. So if they're not here, I ain't going to try to force them here. And it's, it is what it is. I'll leave the videos up that I do have up as a memorial for him. But other than that, I got to wrap it up. It's time to live. I mean, I'm finally free. And I don't mean that in an ugly, nasty way. But it was like he had a hold on me until he passed away. The morning I found out he passed away was when my heart was like, I felt something pull out of it. I mean, it pulled forward out of my heart, and I felt free. I felt like something had broke off of me. I felt free. So now I need to walk in that freedom and just continue to keep everybody prayed up, and that's about it. But come tomorrow, I don't want to be talking about him. My birthday on out, I don't want to be talking about him like this, because now, I feel like it's starting to become obsessive a little bit, and that's not of God. That is not of God. Obsessing over something like that, or obsessing over, the things that happen to us in that relationship. I don't want to go down that type of route. We did what we did. True enough, he was a narcissist. I was an empath. We made the best love. We had some of the best times. We had some of the worst times. And nothing we done, we can go back and redo. We can't, we can't even speak to each other now. So there's nothing really left to say. And the only time I probably, like I've been trying to educate people on it, on narcissism and about the empaths. And I'm going to tell y'all the main thing, what you really need to know about narcissism and empaths. Let me tell you what the true gospel of this is. You need to know that Satan got children, and so do God. The Bible says that you are of your father's child. It's a scripture that goes like that. You are your father's child. Satan, all his children lie and do the things that that God is against. So if you're doing something that's against God, you may be one of Satan's children. And we need to keep that in mind when you're talking about narcissism and empaths. The good book tells us it's good versus evil. That's what it is. It's good people versus evil people. But we need the mixture of all in order for us to need God. If it was not for the bad times, we wouldn't need God. And y'all know that. We wouldn't call on God. That's why everything I talk about, I give it right back to God, because that man brought me through some things on that dangerous highway when me and him were traveling up and down that road. We went through some things, and if I can help the next person come up out of a situation like that, or at least guide them through as they are going, then my job is done. But I don't want to get to a point where I'm making it seem like he was an angel of light, because he was not always that for me. Now, did we have some times where we were real loving? Yeah. But you got to keep in mind, when you're dealing with somebody like that, you have to take the moment for what it is. And that's how I got by. A lot of times I would just have to say, love me when you're with me. That's how I got by. Now, was that right to say that? No, because that was like giving him permission would dog me out if you're not around me. But I didn't know. But I would say, love me when you're with me. That I was trying to protect my own heart. I was trying to protect myself then, and keep in mind I wasn't in the church. But really, all narcissism and empaths is good versus bad. That's it. Good versus evil. That's what it is. You get a narcissist in your life, they're self-centered. They don't care about anybody but themselves. They don't celebrate nobody. The only time they feel good is when people are admiring them. But if you don't admire them quick enough, you're nobody to them. These people don't care about their children. They don't care about themselves. They They are they are lost souls. And that's where good people come in at, and we try to help them. And sometimes we come in wrong because we try to fix them. And you can't fix people. You can pray for them and pray that, the scales come off their eyes and stuff. But when what we mess up doing is when we try to go in and change them instead of asking God to change us. It was that I'm waking moment when I asked God to change me. I've been praying all this time for God to change him, and he kept getting worse. He was getting worse. But when I started asking God to change me, I started changing, and I started detaching from him emotionally, and I started, growing in the knowledge of Christ. And the more I grew into Christ, the stronger I was getting. And I always say that was not easy for me to lead that man. I was with that man 17 years. It was not easy for me to lead that man. But if I wanted to do what was right in the eyesight of God, and I had my little talk with God. He already had warned me of the destruction that was ahead. It was destruction ahead. There's when a person's mind is made up to keep running like that, and you get in the way of that, you're gonna get hurt the worstest. And it's a possibility you might not make it yourself. Because the way he was running, it was already bad before he got the money. But then after he got the money, he was getting beat up and things, and I didn't like that. And here I was trying to help protect him, and that was getting me in trouble with people too. We do foolish things when we don't know better. When we got scales on our eyes, we do some foolish things. And I still love that man. He dead and gone, and I still love him. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd go through the same motions, because that made me a better person. I got to understand what it means to love people unconditionally. And the strongest thing I took from it is, if God tell you to walk away from something, don't fight with God on that thing. Go ahead and do it. See, that whole time I was praying for God to fix him, I was the one that needed it more than he was. Because he was being himself. I was the one faking the funk. He put out exactly who he was, and I tried to make him somebody different. I tried to put my control over him. No, this how you do that. This how you do this. That was almost making me a witch, trying to control that man's life. But then when God got in my life, and I said, okay, I cried about that thing too. I said, dang, I gotta let him go. I gotta let him go. And now I gotta let him go twice. I had to let him go then, and I have to let him go now, because this is unhealthy for me right now at this moment. It's too soon for me to be talking too much about the situations and things, and reliving the trauma, especially trying to do it on my own. That's unhealthy. But if you live with someone that has narcissism, has any type of personality disorders, I understand. And I do mean any of the cluster B personality disorders that's out there. They are, y'all, some of us been fighting a long time with these them disorders. Not those, we're not diagnosed with them disorders, but we have been around and grew up around people who should have been, or should be, or was diagnosed with them disorders, like bipolar, what else? Psychopaths, anti-personality disorders, the narcissism. All those are cluster B personality disorders, and they come to disrupt your life. If you're a person that don't have that disorder and you get with someone who does, you're going to need God. That's the best advice I can tell you. Get your directions and your guidance from God, because they are going to run you in the mud. You're going to get emotionally tore up, emotionally abused. Some of you going to get physically abused. Thank God that he couldn't. He really never wanted to hit me. Now, I do thank God about that. But he hit me that one time, and that was enough. And Ugh. He hit me that one time. But any other time, no, he just loud. But some of you have to go through physical abuse. And I don't know how much of that you're going to have to take. That's why I say you have to pray for God to change you. Because once you start changing you, you'll stop wanting to take all that abuse. And you'll realize that that's not love. That wasn't love. Some that stuff we were doing to each other, that wasn't love. I won't execute in love and he won't either. We were in the motions, but we loved each other, but we didn't know how to love each other. And he always told me he was in love with me, but he didn't know how to love me. Because he didn't know how to love himself. And when you see somebody not taking care of themselves, y'all, that's an automatic red flag that it's going to be hard for them to love you. If they can't take care of themselves, then it's going to be hard for them to love you. And if, that's something you really need to think about. If you see somebody letting themselves go to the extreme that they just don't care about anything, you're going to become the next anything to them. But I'm glad he got his healing finally. I'm not bitter or anything about anything that went on with us or any of the infidelities that happened. You got to think about it. The man was still married, so that made me a whole side chick. I'm sitting here thinking I'm a main girlfriend and stuff and didn't know that he was married. Will I get over that? I ain't got no choice but to get over it because I forgave him for it. Now, I still kind of talk like that about it because that was dirty. I still feel like a stab in my back on that. But yeah, I forgave him though. I did. But that hurt too. I mean, when I found that out, I was like, oh my God. Because you gotta understand, the thing about narcissistic people, they triangulate. They like a lot of men and women to feed their ego. They need more than one man, more than one woman to feed their ego sometimes. And you may not be enough. You may think you're enough, but you're probably not. Now, when he started running real hard, that's when all these women started coming out the woodwork. Every weekend, it seemed like it was a different woman that was eyeing me. And, this didn't start happening until he started getting his money. That's when these women started appearing. And some of them women dead and gone. But it was this woman, she wanted to fight me. And I was like, what? That's my boyfriend. How you want to fight me on my boyfriend? And she started, showing up every places we was at. And mind you, these were not no nice looking women. These women I wouldn't say they looked better than me. They didn't even dress better than me, and they didn't smell better than me. But that's who he chose over me. Now imagine how that makes you feel as a person. As a person, a woman who try to take care of herself, try to keep herself lifted, and try to, stand by a man, and then your man go out and choose this woman right here, who everybody done slept with, and everybody knows everybody that she been sleeping with, and now you gotta look like a fool. You gotta look like a fool. If you're gonna stay with him, you gotta accept the role of a fool. I accepted the role of a fool. I pray not to never go back through anything like this again. It's taken 10 years. I've been working on myself 10 years. I've been to therapy about 4 times and 4 different sets of therapy. And I can tell you this. It doesn't get better. It's just like death, because it is a death in a way. It's a death of someone you thought you knew, and that betrayal. It don't get better, but you learn how to get through, because the mind doesn't forget, what it learns. And if you believe in God, you do have to cast down those intrusive thoughts when they come and start trying to tell you how you're not this and you're not that. Because I had it all the time. My self-esteem was so low after we broke up. I couldn't even walk with my head up. I mean, I didn't want nobody to see me. I stayed away from everybody. I stopped going to people's houses. I mean, I was wounded. I was down. I was hit for the count. I didn't want nobody to talk to me, mention his name to me, because I was that hurt. And I was down, y'all. I was down. I ain't even gonna lie. I didn't want nobody to see how bad I was down, so I just kept working and trying to make it seem like, I'm just going on about life. But the whole time, behind closed doors, life was kicking my butt. It was kicking me. It wasn't too many nights I didn't go to sleep and cry. I'd go to sleep crying. I'd look over the house. I said, nobody's here now but me. I always wanted peace and quiet, but I didn't know it would be everybody leaving at one time. It seemed like everybody left at the same time. Kind of like blacklisting. Everybody puts you out, and you see everybody else living their life, and you're like, what happened to mine? I mean, I just had a house full of people, and now I don't even got but a few nothings. I don't got nothing. So I was left like that, and even though he still tried to talk to me, I knew I couldn't go back. I got hurt too bad, y'all. I got wounded. This empath right here, I got wounded. And when you get a wounded empath that wants to really blow up, I really wanted to cut up bad. But I came home and went to sleep. That's painful. It's painful, and it was almost like God let me sleep through these last 10 years concerning him, not concerning the other part of my life, but blocking that part of my life off for the last 10 years. And when he passed away, that's when I woke up, and I was like, oh my God, did we just break up? It felt so fresh. And all these feelings started coming back, and all this pain started coming back in my. I think I was crying for some of the old stuff, not the new that he gone. And then I look at the man, and I'm like, I don't even know who this person is. I didn't meet this person right here. This guy, you know how traumatizing that is. When me and him split, this guy was almost like 190 pounds. Or 200. He was at 200, right at 200 pounds. And then what I saw in that casket was like maybe 95 pounds. If that. I got grandchildren that was bigger than him. And they in the kindergarten. That's how little he got. He was just long legs and head. That was traumatic seeing that. I didn't expect to see him like that. And then when I saw him in 2020, he still had a little bit of weight on him. And seeing his face sink in like that, I was like, he's not going to make it like that. But I couldn't take him back. Because when we sitting at the table, it was just one thing about him. He looked at me a certain way, and I knew that narcissism was still in him, that he hadn't changed. And I just said something like, how you doing? Or I asked him something about himself, and he gave me that look, and he let out some words I didn't like, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to bother you. All right, y'all, I got to go. Kids are coming now, so peace, love, and happiness. We'll talk more later, but I don't know if I'm going to be talking too much about him because it's getting too heavy for me. Peace, love, and happiness.